Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 498 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Maldo, and I am here today with two of the finest geeks that you're ever going to meet. Yes, that's right. It's Chris DeBona, but at least the top of his eyes.
Well, I can fix this.
And
there.
And Rob Roseboom.
Hello.
I like that you adjusted as well.
Yeah. Just a little.
He didn't want to get out adjusted by me.
Yeah.
So there is a zero chance. Hello, green screen. There's a non-zero chance that at some point during this recording, Comcast will go screw around at the pole and knock me offline. So we'll see.
We'll see.
I want to see if I can turn off my chroma key. No, it doesn't look like my macro. Oh, there we go. Look at that. So
right.
I have gigabit coming supposedly, and
nice.
They sent me like the notification say they sent me no notifications whatsoever that's saying that, and I don't need like a professional install. I just need to like plug it in and turn it on, right? So
welcome to the future.
But they're like in one form that I had to go seek out in like a notifications tray. It makes mention to a professional installation occurring today. But that's all I know. But I don't. I'm kind of expecting them to turn the internet off right now.
Good luck with that.
Is this AT&T or Comcast or what? Sorry, Rob.
When I bought this house, I famously had scheduled installation of my internet the day after I closed, and then that morning they called me to let me know they did not service this area, although I had scheduled installation months in advance. So who knows? Maybe they will actually show up to your place. I wish you luck.
They're pretty good actually around here for the most part. They go offline a fair bit, but they generally seem to show up and do the things that I would expect of them. So here's hoping. But I'm not expecting them to actually show up today, because if they were going to show up today, they would have like sent me a real message and not like buried it 3 tiers down in a notification system.
And let you know that sometime between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. they would arrive at your house.
That's right. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
All right, so let's see. Amazon, they've got approval now to put more satellites up into space, thus adding to the visible noise pollution that we've been seeing from SpaceX. So we're worried about that now. Not super worried, but we're definitely, it's a thing.
You know, we should be, because SpaceX hasn't put any sort of non-reflective coatings on the bottom of their satellites, you know? They're like, we're thinking about how to do it. And I'm like, here's some paint. Get painting. Get anodizing, you jerks. Come on.
I mean, is it a situation like how they don't paint, back in the day, they didn't paint like airplanes because it was heavy?
No. Honestly, if it's anything, they're probably worried about absorbing more heat if they have a dark, non-reflective absorbing coating. And the thing about these satellites is they do have an orientation, but sometimes it's just satellites are weird. They're a real pain in the butt.
It's true.
So, yeah.
There was another story this week about this is the SpaceX one. They're finally now they're out of NDA. They're still, everybody who's testing it is still like under some sort of NDA. But they are now beginning to leak out performance numbers, and there's a couple of interesting beta users of Starlink. They're getting 11 to 60 megabits, and they're actually able to get under the 100 millisecond ping times. And this was, of course, the threshold for them to be able to get government subsidies to provide bandwidth to rural areas. They had like they're fast enough for that. And who knows if this is going to be, if this is final numbers, if these are leaks, but that was the big question. And I mean, man, I lived for years and years on less than 11 megabits, so I wouldn't want to do it now, though.
I mean, it's not terrible for some rural mountain town, but it was funny. I guess Elon Musk or his his minions at Starlink, they've been going to various state houses saying you shouldn't allow for municipal broadband because Starlink will take care of all this problem for you. And it's just like, yeah, there you go.
Trade one monopoly
Real
for
nice.
another.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's good then that Amazon is doing that they've got the regulatory approval for their rival, because I mean, that's the whole thing, right? You got to have competitors if you want things to be decent. Like there was a story just recently that was something like 80 or 85% of United States internet users really don't have a choice about their provider. I mean, I got Comcast. I might be able to get AT&T for like a DSL line or something, but if I did, I bet it'd be like 6 megabits or something horrible.
Yeah, that'd be terrible. That'd be awful.
And I want my gigabyte, man. I want my gigabit. That's terrible.
That's terrible.
If you're gonna do that, then I'm gonna charge you with crimes against the internet.
For those of you not watching the video, I'm showing the Comcast guy rubbing his nipples, saying that's terrible from South Park. Now, so the thing I was going to mention here is that I think this is a lot of stuff to put into low Earth orbit, and yeah, there's a lot of space in space and all the rest. I just think that we're courting disaster. I hate to mention Kessler Syndrome every single time we do a SpaceX Starlink related story.
And I got to mention Wally.
Yeah, and you have to mention Wally. Yeah. I mean, it's the law, but yeah, it's really disappointing that. Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
and let me tell you, can I just tell you my greatest outrage about all this stuff is they're like, we're going to bring bandwidth to the rural America, and the thing is, as an American public, we've been charged an extra fee for rural internetification, for lack of a better word, since the mid 90s. And all the big companies have been just pocketing that crap and just saying, oh, look at this extra money. Thank you so much. And then not doing crap about pulling even to little suburbs like, oh, I don't know, Chelsea and Dexter to any sort of real bandwidth.
Oh,
it's like
Chelsea and Dexter are fine.
They're fine.
Yeah, you go 50 miles north and you got a problem.
Or you go to Rob Malda's house, you go to Rob Rosebaum's house, and they're only getting gigabit now, and Rob's never seen gigabit. I mean, geez.
Rob's pretty
gigabit.
Rob, you're pretty far away from, a city center.
I have to tell you though,
not really.
He is not in the grand scheme of things. Right. They've been pocketing money, and they were supposed to be pulling real bandwidth to like the Sierras,
I'm about 15 minutes from Chelsea, but I'm only about 10 miles from Jackson.
Yeah.
And Jackson's a real city.
That's true. I don't know. I feel like you're kind of in the middle the middle dumping ground between two cities where you get screwed either way.
You would be correct. But that space is not that far. It's a lot shorter space than you think.
See, I'm like 5 minutes away from Dexter and 5 minutes away from Ann Arbor. So I'm in between. Ann Arbor is obviously a much bigger city, but I'm also in like a neighborhood of like 400 houses. So that's a lucrative for a monopolist.
Well, Comcast does go to the vineyard that is about 200 yards to the west of me, or to the east of me rather. But
so they want $15,000 to run that last 200 yards with the cable.
To that last bit, and I kind of live out in the woods, but this is a subdivision with 22 houses in it, right?
Back in the day,
it's not like I'm like Grizzly Adams out here or anything.
Well, back in the day, I had the same thing as you, right? I bought a house, was told that cable was run, and there was not. And this is 2001. But at the time, I got a T1, which cost like $500 a month. It was stupid expensive. But I was told that it was going to cost $18,000 in order to run cable. Because you remember where my house was. I was only 300 feet away from like the big road, which I guarantee you has cable running down it. But they wanted $18,000 to run the cable, that last 300 yards. And I'm like, well, I probably should have done it because by the time I left, I had been there for 10 years and I paid $500 a month in cable bills there for most of that time. All right. Here's one that'll get you angry.
Yeah.
The bookstore, the little bookstore thing.
Ah, this
I
did
love
get
this
me
story.
angry.
Okay,
This is a
so
terrible story.
all right, so not only like okay, if you're gonna steal books from a little
From
free
a-
library, you are a certain level of garbage human being. But
Absolutely.
it's worse than that because he was going there and trading books that he knew his bookstore could sell with like used Sudoku puzzle books.
Don Alexander, please stop taking my books for your bookstore. This is not the something. Yeah. This is not the purpose of my little library. Yeah. What
Yeah, people are
creep.
just garbage. Did you ever go to the bookmobile in
Oh yeah.
the summer? Yeah, so I don't know how widespread that program is, but the bookmobile basically was where we lived was an old school bus that they had stripped the seats out of, put sort of shelvings in, and you could come and you could drop off a book and then choose a book from the bookmobile. Kind of a neat service,
Yeah.
but sort of ran into the same problem where if you looked at the donated book bins when you get in there, it was just all trash, just all ruined books,
Yep.
coloring books, just garbage.
This
and
is a
then people
copy
would
of Good
take a book.
Housekeeping from 1984. This is not a
Right,
legitimate
right.
exchange for a Madeline L'Engle sci-fi
Wait
classic.
a second. Wait a second, Rob Mulder. Are you saying that hints from Heloise in 85 are not timeless?
Yeah. So that part of it doesn't surprise me because human beings are garbage and that's just going to happen. But to try to sell them in your own bookstore,
No, it's even worse than that. Listen to this. I don't need this stuff. He's deleting the Nextdoor app from his phone. I've never been attacked on the internet before. I'm 69 years old. I'm not generally a social media person. He plans to have some books that people have donated out for sale in front of the future site of his shop in Delray this weekend during Alexandria's sidewalk sale. Quote, I sure hope there's no stuff that came from little free libraries, he says of the stock he'll have out.
Awkward.
Quote, if there is, it came from someone else, not me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you creep. You absolute creep.
Yeah. He's a garbage
Jerkbag.
person.
He is a garbage person. 69 years of garbage living.
The thing that that doubly gets in my craw is that Kat has been wanting to build a little free library since the dawn of time. Like for 10 years and it's one of those things that when we talk about like little fun projects to try to tackle, she's like, you should build me a little free library in your wood shop. And I'm like, well, I would, but I would build it in a design that I enjoy to build, not what you want to build. And then we argue about what a little free library should look like, and then there's threats of divorce. But they get registered in like a registry, and I think that's what she wants more than anything. But like where our house is, like we're on a path, but not like a good path for a library. We're on a dead end.
Okay, I didn't share this on the channel, but you know what you should do, Rob? It's not a little free library. No. That's just pedestrian. You should do a little tiny record store for mice, like those little fairy houses in
well,
Ann Arbor
Arbor's famous for its fairy doors,
right? Well, maybe you should have a little fairy mouse.
All right.
Record shop. I'm just saying this would be like, and that guy from Alexandria, he can't steal this and sell it. No, because it's attached to your house.
It's art. It's art. I like this.
I gotta tell you,
Ziggy Stardust. Oh.
Destiny's Cheese. I mean, this is brilliant.
A Public Enemy. Oh, that's so cool.
I mean, it's amazing, dude.
Spice
like every single
Road,
one of these is
Abbey
changed
Road,
just
Dark
slightly.
Side of the Moon.
But they have mice in them.
They got Rolling
mice.
Stones. It's
really even
cool.
got a little Banksy, but it's a mouse. See over there?
Oh. Oh, it's perfect. It's art.
I mean, this is incredible. Yeah, see? Look, he's got the Banksy, but as a mouse. It is absolute genius. And there's no reason you, Rob Malda, should just do a little free library. That's crazy.
Why stop there?
You should up Ann Arbor's fairy door game.
Again, though, I live on a dead end. The only people who see my house are the people who miss the fact that it's a dead end and then turn around in my driveway, which happens like a lot.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I'm all for it. I'm all for the tiny record store. I love it. Have you guys both seen Exit Through the Gift Shop? I think we've talked about this before.
I have not yet seen it.
Dude, you
I
You
know.
guys
I
both need
love
to
it.
watch it. It is not the movie you
I'm
think it's
still
going to be, and it is awesome. But
I'm
you,
still catching up on Umbrella Academy season 2. So
I'm
Ugh.
done there. I was actually
it's
super
really good.
disappointed about Doom Patrol because the ending felt really awkward, and I just read a thing yesterday that confirmed that they basically combined a couple of episodes.
Hmm.
Like they moved some plot lines at the end because the COVID was shutting down production a week early.
Dang COVID.
So they like episode 9 like contains plot threads from the, like season wrapping, and I thought that was like now we're ready for the season finale, but nope, that was the season finale.
Yeah.
Kind of
There you
bummed.
are. You watched it.
Yay! It's only my favorite show. Kind of let me down. Actually, this
You know,
weekend
I
has
love my
been.
child, but I think I know why her lightning cable isn't working.
Is it not a lightning cable?
No, it's got like ink over the contacts, and I'm like, dude, what is happening here?
That's how they work.
It's not how they work. It's how they don't work. Yeah,
Uh,
sorry for interrupting.
no, whatever. My house has been all Star Trek: The Next Generation this weekend.
Oh, that's nice.
I've watched like 10 episodes of The Next Generation in the last 2 days, and it's been kind of fantastic.
So here it's been hot. So we actually,
Yeah,
my brother-in-law, they have a pool, so we went and just like sat in this pool. It was
131
great.
degrees in Death Valley this weekend.
Well, I mean, that's a hot place, but
Sure,
like,
but they said
you know,
that was the measured record for Earth for all time.
yeah, but it was 109 here
Yeah,
in here in my little 8x10 shed
in
in
your
Palo
shed.
Alto. You know, it's although my air conditioning totally kept up. It was awesome.
Oh,
So
that's good.
Well,
All right,
maybe
so
if you shut off your AC, you could start sous vide stuff in there.
yeah, right. Well, so I did do the thing where you get the Wagyu from the Costco and you make it really, really good. So we had awesome steak last
wait a
night. So.
minute. Costco sells Wagyu beef?
Oh no! It's incredible.
Really?
No, it is legit awesome. So yeah, so just go to Costco, go all the way to the back,
All right.
and look for the most ridiculously overpriced steak you can find there.
I think that
And
might be a California thing.
incredible. No, this is American Wagyu. It's not even like imported stuff.
You can
It's
also
really good. It's like
buy
35 bucks a pound though. But
you can also buy really big primal cuts there. So if you
Yeah.
know how to butcher stuff, you can just chop up your own meat.
Yeah,
Yeah, their
I
butcher
bought
is kind of incredible.
I bought the Pismo there a few times. That's an easy way to go. But I didn't know that they sold Wagyu. That's really weird. Although our good meat budget these days has all gone to some Zingerman's Deli Meat of the Month Club, where I get really, really, really good steaks from some butcher in Detroit, and it makes me very, very happy. And my next shipment is due in like 1 week, and I want it.
It's just a fatty steak. So I mean, whatever you're getting, I'm sure it's great. And like I just cooked it really, really carefully and I experimented one day and then I did the full cook last night, you know. So I made like strips like big, you know. And yeah.
I mean I've tried cooking with stuff like that, but yeah, sous vide is the only way that I can that I would trust myself with that. I'd have to do a sous vide with a reverse sear because otherwise I ruin meat.
Yeah.
Cat
well,
is actually
that's why I experimented first.
Sure.
You know,
Cat is like really good on the grill. She has become in the last couple of years because our stove doesn't work.
Oh, what?
Wait,
what do you mean your stove doesn't
hold
work?
on. Okay, it's worse than that. The thermostat in our stove maybe is busted, but we're not exactly sure because when the temperature in the neighborhood gets above about 83 degrees, the thermostat in my oven doesn't work, and the water in my espresso machine, the plumbing, I have it plumbed in, it stops working. And I have no idea if these two things are actually I know they correlate, but I don't know if it's the same causation. But yes, when the temperature gets into the lower to mid 90 or mid 80s, my oven, it doesn't stop working, but it won't generally go above 250. And my water, I can't get water into my coffee machine.
Okay, so let's talk about the second one. That's weird.
Yes,
okay,
it is.
So
that's the one though that I can think of maybe an explanation
Sure,
for.
water pressure is increasing.
Depending on where your pressure tank is being held, right?
It's the neighborhood pressure tank, so I'm getting pressure off the line.
Well, you have to have a pressure tank in your house too to regulate that, right?
I mean, he could just. I mean, it's probably a valve that's been fouled in the espresso machine.
Nope.
So that when it gets too high of pressure, because of the expansion of water, it basically shuts off the feed because it thinks it's getting too
I
much
hear you,
water.
man, but it actually makes like this really horrible grinding noise.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
what's the model number of your? Hello, welcome to tech support. What is the
welcome
model
to
number
Coffee
of your?
Talk. We're here to talk about your coffee and your oven.
Yeah, this is gripping.
Thrilling.
It's super gripping.
Well, the oven is actually scarier, but the flip side to that is that we cook on the grill. Like if it's over than 80 degrees, we just cook on the grill. So Kat has got really good at cooking things on the grill.
Wait. So is this the stove or the oven? Because
the oven will not get up above
the
200
stove
degrees.
is different from the oven, right?
I misspoke and I apologize. The burners work fine.
It just thinks it's hotter than it is.
Who knows, man?
What's funny about my oven is Christine. Christine was a professional
chef. Yes.
So it's really hard to cook for her. Like the steak thing was pretty touch and go, but like she used our oven so much that she found flaws in its design. And so they had to replace like the entire way they were laying out the thermostat because she was getting it too hot. And so she melted the wires that went to the thermostat. So yeah, and so this also happened with our stovetop too, because like it's just we ran it too hot, and I'm like, what do you mean we ran it too hot? It's an oven. You run it.
It's rated for what it's rated.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I'm a big fan of cast iron in the broiler.
Oh, for sure. Although our broiler doesn't work when it gets hot either. I know, it sucks. But, in late September, it doesn't matter again. And then we're like, screw it, we'll deal with it in the spring.
Yeah. I'll just kick that can down the road.
Well, and it's summer, right? I mean, we're going to have hot dogs and brats and steaks on the grill. I mean, that's what we're eating right now. You're going to eat, you want to eat on the grill most of the time anyway. It's nice. Okay, so I think, Rob, you shared the bald eagle fighting a drone.
Nope, it was Nate.
Oh, that was Nate.
I did read the story. Yeah,
it's a great story.
Pretty much all you want in life. Was there footage attached? That was the one thing I wasn't sure of.
I'm hoping.
I have no idea.
I saw your mouse, so I thought you might be looking for it, Chris. I'm looking for it too.
I am looking for it. I'm looking for it. So it's funny. Yeah. So far, nothing.
Ugh. Disable my ad blocker. Ugh. I can't.
Yep, it turns out large raptors are territorial.
Funny that.
Yeah, and they're powerful things. So, there's that classic YouTube video of a drone being plucked out of the air in, I think it was in Massachusetts. It was it turned out to be a person who worked for me who posted it. So, YouTube.
I do think it's kind of cool that we have people just flying. If it's a $950 drone, that just means it's a off the shelf standard drone.
Oh yeah, they said it was a DJI.
Yeah,
so,
like we're not using anything special, and I really do love that science has gotten to the point where we can mass produce something that's actually useful for measurement for this kind of science. And I would think of 10 years ago, the idea that we would be using a drone to map the shoreline in Michigan. That we wouldn't think of that 10 years ago. That would just not really be a thing.
Well, I mean, if you're doing like field research, a lot of the stuff you're doing is just going to be sort of jury rig stuff like this. Like when they did a lot of research of large mammals in Africa, they would use RC cars to follow herds around and stuff. They didn't use anything super fancy. You just use what you can get and what you can fix out in the field. So
yeah. So are you ready? Watch this. So so he's flying over Magazine Beach, which is I think in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I'm hitting play now.
Ooh. That's an angle.
Yeah, they look like a rough-legged hawk. They get pretty big.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, let's see if we can zoom in. Where'd it go? There it is. Look at that baby. What a beauty.
I like it. All right, so let's see. Since the post office is doing really good these days. Rob, you'll be thrilled to know Todd is back at the post office.
Excellent. I saw that.
Yeah, that's
It
pretty.
did
Wait,
make me
what's this
feel
now?
better.
Todd,
Todd who?
the greatest post office man ever.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That doesn't make any more sense to me. You know that, right?
So
Todd is just an example. Well, like I'm not much of a car guy, but I enjoy Top Gear.
Sure.
I enjoy like proficiency and, sort of excellence. And that's what Todd is. Todd knows everything about the post office, knows all the rates off the top of his head, can weigh things by hand with
Whoa.
incredible accuracy. And he's just, he's just wonderful. He is the person you want helping you in every place. Like if the DMV had a Todd,
Yep.
no one would ever complain about it. He's just
That's
the
nice.
dude.
Well, this is the thing. I like all this anger against the post office. I'm like, sure, sometimes the lines get a little long, but at the actual post office, but these people, they're not trying to screw you. They're just trying to get you mail. It's
I
like
made
these
Pat
are
a pen.
nice people.
After Todd let me has mailed now, I don't know, 150 pens for me, and he asked me what's in all these packages. I'm like, oh, pens. You want one? He's like, yeah, I want one. So I made him a pen.
That was nice.
But he had a medical thing and he was off the grid for a few months. I imagine that while Todd is capable of weighing a package down to 1/10 of an ounce using nothing but his eyeballs, I don't think that Todd is skilled at blockchain-based voting technology, which is crazy to me because the U.S. Postal Service now has a patent filed for blockchain voting systems, which now that the post office's problems are all solved, we're ready for the next election. It's going to be fine.
Now that we're stripping out high volume counting machines, they get rid of 6,000 of them or something? I can't remember the exact number. Yeah.
It's weird. I hate to I hate to think too hard about this stuff because it's so nakedly apparent. Like the post office stuff, and then the absentee ballot stuff, and what was going on before that? There was another chain of stories, which is just like, everything related to the census.
Yeah.
And at least for me, let's be clear. I'm not sure that there ever was a time where there wasn't skullduggery taking place, right?
Right.
But what I need you to do is at least let me know that you're ashamed of it and try to hide it.
Right. At least lie. Have the decency to lie.
Yeah. So
America made it a long ways on leaders that just lied until there was tapes that proved it. And then we decided in the run up to the last election that we don't even care about that anymore.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're all going to be voting maybe with our Ethereum. We can vote with our Ethereum. They just had another 50% attack on Ethereum, didn't they?
Yeah. So here's the thing. You might remember this was actually in the recent age of Geeks in Space. John Thompson quit because he's like, I cannot do the census and maintain my ethics and morality.
Yep.
And it's everything he said is coming true.
Yeah.
He's like, there is no way the Trump administration is going to allow us to do a fair census. So I'm out. And it's just like, this is the guy who ran the last 3, and he's just, or 2, and he's just remarkable, and it's just,
it's interesting to me because we read all of these stories about the deep state or whatever, and and of course there's elements of that, right? There's the the employees
Betsy
working
DeVos,
for Betsy DeVos, deep state. There's people who've been there, but they're people who've been competently doing their job for decades, spanning multiple presidential administrations, and for sure there are people in these departments that don't like you no matter what party you are. But I don't know, this just feels so universal and so one-sided, and so blatant and so loud and just so heartbreaking. And when you go to the Fox News, it's patriotic.
Yeah.
This is America now. Making
It's
me
just,
sad.
it's horrific, you know.
Hey, you know what, Rob? I think you did share costumes of plague doctors, or did I share that one? I may have shared that one
No,
for you.
you shared it.
I shared it for
It's,
you.
I appreciate you trying to give me credit for these amazing stories and stuff, but
Well, I usually know the stories you like.
I know.
But the plague doctor story, just, I mean, those are cool.
so those plague masks, you know, they were designed so you could have your herbs and you know
Yeah,
your 7 herbs and spices in the end of the nose there.
yeah,
You know,
because they were, starting to figure stuff out, which is interesting in place in medical history in
Right.
particular, because they're like, hey, we think this might be going through the air, which is totally true.
Turns out.
But instead of, like they hadn't quite figured out what to do about it other than to jam herbs and aromatics into that, beak thing so that you could breathe that filtered air, and that, they thought would help you. So
there it is, Santa Maria Novella. So what's funny about this is also here. Let me share this tab. So the plague is actually the birthplace of the cologne and perfume industry. So 600 years ago, Santa Maria Novella, they specialized in creating scents for the interior of those masks. So that, and thought was, and I actually have some of the one on the far left there. It was thought to be an antiseptic, right? And it would make the smells tolerable, of the death, the Black Death. So anyway, it's really a fascinating story if you dive deep, and you can still buy these signature scents from Santa Maria Novella, so in Florence.
I always feel like those masks primarily just exist to inspire costume designers of Doctor Who episodes.
Yeah, right.
well, and to have the creepy costume at your steampunk convention.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well,
yeah.
For sure. All right, we've hit the 30-minute mark, and I feel like I could probably watch another episode of TNG. I'm in the middle of season 4.
Oh yeah.
I found a list. I went through season 3 just watching this list of essential episodes, and then Kathleen is complaining. She's like, all we're watching is Picard and Borg episodes. So now I've pulled back the throttle, and now I'm watching every episode that's ranked a 3 or higher according to like WatchStarTrek.com or something. Which means now I'm seeing the silly ones. So that's good fun.
It's a thing.
Tomorrow night we have, for realsies, unless Comcast screws up my internet, we have Final Countdown.
That'll be exciting.
I gotta try to find a background image. The important stuff. Also,
well, yeah.
I would like to
it's
point
not
out
that kind of movie, though. It's not really a backgroundy movie.
That's true. I realize now why I have no interest in your perfumes, Chris. I can't smell.
Why? Because you have no nose.
I have no sense of smell. I would have made an excellent plague doctor.
Yeah, right? Have you thought about that? Like going into that business?
Yeah, I have now. Just now. Guys, I'm going to go study plague witchcraft. If any of you need a bloodletting or maybe some phrenology, I don't know, what other techniques would have been prevalent in this era? I'm going to study that.
Divination.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a little divination.
I'm going to need a collection of
phrenology,
bones.
divination. Is there like a phrenology but for feet? Because like I don't imagine that's a thing on the internet.
Reflexology.
That's a category on Pornhub.
That's more modern. That's more modern.
All right.
They take that thing and they jackhammer your souls, and then tell you what's wrong with you.
Oh, using that little thing they try to sell you on AliExpress.
Yeah.
Wang, 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 wang. Yeah, okay.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
I'm going to say goodbye to Chris DeBona.
Goodbye, Chris DeBona.
I'm going to say goodbye to Rob Roseboom.
That's me. Goodbye.
I am Rob Commander Taco Malda. This has been episode 498 of Geeks in Space. I hope that your skull is shaped appropriately and nobody tries to steal your blood and you're not attacked by eagles.